The Republican majority and Donald Trump want to kick working families to the curb and give people who don't need another massive tax break another leg up. The wealthiest 1% in this country do not need more advantages. They have plenty. These cuts are a crystal clear indication of where your priorities lie. And they repeatedly said, we are citizens. You have the wrong people. We are citizens. It happened in the middle of the night. 3 children at gunpoint were forced outside to stand in the rain in their underwear while their mother pleaded with these agents to tell them what was going on. They ignored the pleas. They ripped apart the entire house. They seized cash, documents, electronics, their computers as evidence. When the family asked when they would get their stuff back, the agents responded, well, it could be days or it could be months. This was all a colossal mistake. The names on the warrant did not match the people who lived in the house. This is what we have created here. This is Trump's America. These were citizens who were treated like this. This is what we want you to open your eyes to. The Republican budget resolution is a deep betrayal of working people in all of our districts.
Today, we will deliver on the people's mandate by advancing the FY25 budget resolution to restore the fiscal health of our great nation by reining in reckless spending and reigniting economic growth. In addition, we will provide critical resources to our Commander-in-Chief to secure our border, strengthen our military, and provide for the common defense. This budget resolution provides the fiscal framework for what will be one of the most consequential pieces of legislation in modern history, and the principal legislative vehicle for delivering on President Trump's America First agenda. The era of wasteful, woke, and weaponized government is over.
My colleagues have proposed a budget roadmap that gives massive tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans and corporations. And how will they pay for the rich getting richer? By making deep cuts to Medicaid and food assistance programs. They are kicking the poor and the middle class to give the ultra-wealthy another unneeded break. So who are those people that are going to be affected? Here are the people I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about a woman in South Royalton, Vermont, who called my office. And she told me that she prepaid for all of her home heating oil, but now she's being charged an additional 10% on top of that because the company fears the trade war that's going to be coming with Canada. I'm thinking about the families on Head Start that are calling my office saying they don't know if they're going to have an education program for their kids because Trump froze the federal funding. It creates hardship and anxiety for people who are just trying to make ends meet. What has happened these 4 weeks is a clear indication of who Trump cares about and who he is not thinking about. The scale of this disaster is really almost impossible to comprehend. We've got 29 people who are dead. We've got 16,000 structures that were destroyed, so many Californians injured. And while these devastating fires were raging on, Republicans' first reaction was to blame the wildfires on, quote, DEI. So I'd like every witness to answer this simple question, yes or no, starting with Mr. Greenhut. Do you believe that people in Los Angeles died because the fire chief is a lesbian? Yes or no? Do you believe? No. Okay. Mr. Ring, do you believe people in Los Angeles died because the fire chief is a lesbian?
No.
Great. Mr. I don't know because your name is now upside down. Mr. Hilton, do you believe that people in Los Angeles died because the fire chief is a lesbian?
No.
Mr. Fravel, do you believe that the people of Los Angeles died because the fire chief is a lesbian?
No.
Great. So, glad we established that. But I want to remind everyone that while fires raged through Main Street and Palisades, Elon Musk said that DEI means people die, in reference to the Los Angeles Fire Department's response. And my House colleagues seem to agree. This here is a tweet from Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene posted on her official social media. It says, how's your DEI mayor of Los Angeles working out for you? So it's become crystal clear that the phrase DEI is used in place of much more offensive terms to talk about people of color, to talk about women, queer people in this country. It's sickening, and they're literally saying this while people were dying. So obviously, this has nothing to do with the families who lost everything. It does not do anything for the communities that were destroyed. It's an absolutely wrong way to deal when you have a natural disaster. And I know, because the last 2 summers in Vermont, we've had catastrophic flooding. What people need in this moment is leadership. Americans need us to get the resources that they need out to them immediately. America does not need a president that is hell-bent on dismantling our federal emergency management system or conditioning aid to California to profit off of a community's devastation. All this talk of DEI is a complete and utter distraction from the fact that we need a plan, an actual plan to help the people of California who lost everything.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Ranking Member Boyle. Here's the deal. So we're 4 weeks in to the Trump administration, and Republicans in Congress are betraying not just the middle class, but working people across this country. Republicans have the House, they have the Senate, they have the White House, and they could be passing legislation to make your life more affordable. They could be working to bring down the costs on groceries, prescription drugs, housing, but instead, Trump is shutting down vital programs that protect and support Americans across this country, and Republicans are letting him do it. Just this week, the Trump administration shut down the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the agency that's responsible for protecting us from waste, fraud, and abuse. The CFPB is one of the few places in government actually charged with standing up to the big banks and the corporations who've ripped off consumers. It has sent $21 billion back to those victims of corporate crimes. Every single state has benefited from the work of the CFPB. Shutting it down, I believe, reveals a deep, deep contempt and cynicism. This president should be laser focused on bringing down costs for Americans and making sure everyone can live a life of security and dignity. But instead what we are seeing is this administration is taking a wrecking ball to the programs that provide Americans with relief and just some economic security. And again, Republicans are letting him do it. What has happened these 4 weeks is a clear indication of who Trump cares about and who he is not thinking about. But I'm thinking about all the small businesses that have called my office to say that they would be absolutely crushed by a trade war with Canada. They need predictability. They need stability. Everyone who runs a small business knows that because it's such a tight margin. Trump's recklessness and the Republicans' silence about it is a kick in the teeth to working people and small business owners in all of our districts. And look, it's clear from the chaos and the confusion that Republicans are really trying to bury the details. We know what they're trying to do here. They have to cut trillions of dollars of programs in their scheme that people rely on to get the rich their tax cuts that they're demanding. The wealthy in this country are doing just fine. They don't need any more advantages. They don't need a hand up. And certainly not if it means cutting aid to farmers, cutting food programs, cutting Medicaid so that your mother or grandmother can't afford a nursing home. Because that's the stark reality of it. You go after Medicaid, you're hurting your mom or your grandma who can't age with dignity because billionaires need another tax cut. On the morning of Thursday, April 24th, about 20 armed federal agents broke into a home occupied by a family of U.S. citizens in Oklahoma City who had just moved there 2 weeks prior from Maryland. ICE agents mistaking the current occupants for the former broke down the door, terrorized the family, and they repeatedly said, "We are citizens. You have the wrong people. We are citizens." It happened in the middle of the night. 3 children
at gunpoint, were forced outside to stand in the rain in their underwear while their mother pleaded with these agents to tell them what was going on. They ignored the pleas. They ripped apart the entire house. They seized cash, documents, electronics, their computers as evidence. When the family asked when they would get their stuff back, the agents responded, well, it could be days or it could be months. This was all a colossal mistake. The names on the warrant did not match the people who lived in the house. This is what we have created here. This is Trump's America. These were citizens who were treated like this. This is what we want you to open your eyes to. If it can happen, as we've said time and time again, if it can happen to folks with green cards, it can happen to citizens. And in Oklahoma City, we see a perfect example of that. This is what we're talking about. It's not other people. It's us. It's our neighbors. It's our friends. It's people who just moved from Maryland to Oklahoma for a better life and have their house destroyed. And they can't get answers. If we watch the rest of the news clip there, they're asking ICE, who's responsible for this? And then they're sending them to another agency, and they're sending them to another agency, and nobody is accountable for what happened to them. This is what my colleagues are trying to fund with this bill. Armed federal agents breaking into homes, even of U.S. citizens, traumatizing them, taking their possessions. This is Trump's America. That's why we continue to talk about due process. It's not some pie-in-the-sky idea. It's what literally holds our country together. Without due process, without the belief in the Constitution, we are not Americans. That's what gives us the ability to say we are an exceptional country in the world, that everyone who lives here gets due process. And we're going to keep saying this over and over and over again for everyone who lives here. What happened to that family, once again, of American citizens in Oklahoma City should scare the hell out of all of us. And we should not be using this committee to find more money to pump into ICE so that these things can happen. This family is all of us. That's what we're trying to say today. This family is all of us. And I can't believe that in our name, on our watch, this is happening to people who live in this country. Open your eyes. Wake the hell up. House Republicans have spent the last 3 months insisting that they are the party of working people, that they care about the struggles of working people. And now they have control of the House, they have control of the Senate, they have control of the White House, and they actually could be doing something about it. And yet, instead of passing legislation to make life easier and more affordable, they are doing the opposite. This bill is a betrayal of working people. It's a betrayal of the middle class. So let's start with the overall plan here. Republicans are proposing a massive cut to social services in this country, services that my constituents in Vermont rely on. I'm thinking about the nearly 164,000 Vermonters on Medicaid who are at risk of losing their health care. The Republican legislation means parents and grandparents who rely on Medicaid for long-term care and nursing homes for their family members. They're going to have that rug pulled out from under them. It means that rural hospitals, not just in Vermont, but in all of your rural districts, are going to close too. It's just a math problem. Medicaid goes away, rural hospitals close. The Republican majority and Donald Trump want to kick working families to the curb and give people who don't need another massive tax break another leg up. The wealthiest 1% in this country do not need more advantages. They have plenty. These cuts are a crystal clear indication of where your priorities lie. Now let's talk about what is on the agenda for this committee specifically. With this slice of the reconciliation plan, Judiciary Republicans will be doubling down on Trump's lawlessness and cruel immigration policies, fueling Trump's attacks on our independent judiciary and making it easier for big businesses to get away with price gouging and making it more expensive for regular people to survive. Today, my Republican colleagues are voting for sky-high fees for folks who are just trying to comply with immigration laws. Does anyone really think that somebody who is fleeing to our country for relief as a refugee can afford hundreds or thousands of dollars to seek asylum or their day in court? It's nonsense, and you know it. And with these fees leveraged on those who can least afford it, Republicans are dedicating billions of dollars to hire and empower an immigration enforcement reign of terror. They want to greenlight more masked agents, more hooded people, more unmarked cars, yanking people off the streets, deporting them without any due process. This is America. This is what actually sets us apart from people in the rest of the world, is due process. You can laugh all you want, but if we don't stand up for due process, we are not the United States of America anymore. The bill in front of us will allow Republicans to further insulate this administration when it flagrantly violates the law and the Constitution, making it harder for courts to stop illegal actions. My Republican colleagues are once again using their position, instead of helping working people, they're using their position to attack judges, to attack the very foundations of what makes us Americans. And you're trying to shutter the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, making it harder for us to enforce our antitrust laws. Let's talk about fairness. Let's talk about competition. Let's talk about all my small businesses who just want a fair shot. Why would you go after the FTC and make it harder for small businesses to survive in this landscape? You all talk about competition. You all talk about a healthy process in this country, to have competition, to have a healthy economy, and then you go after the FTC. It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't pass the straight face test. It's all more of the same in here. You are not looking out for working people. You are not standing up for small businesses. You're not standing up for rural America. You're not standing up for our rural hospitals. You're not standing up for the people who desperately need Medicaid in order to get basic health care. When I vote no on this Republican budget, I'm going to be thinking of all the working people in Vermont who sent me here to work on behalf of them, not big corporations, not authoritarians who are would-be dictators, to work on behalf of them. And I will be thinking of all of the immigrants, those who have become part of the fabric of Vermont's economy and our communities, who are heartlessly being attacked by my Republican colleagues today. I yield back.